My FPL Game23 team selection. In this video, we're going to look at how my team is lining up going into the deadline at 2:30 tomorrow, as well as how my team performed in Game Week 22. I will say I'm glad that that Game Week is over. So, just moving on. Before I go ahead, this video is brought to you by myself, FPL.CARNAGE, in association with GW23. Okay, so in game week 22, my team scored a total of 48 points. Um, I was really surprised to have still, been on the green arrow, although I didn't really gain much rank. I don't think my rank even moved at all. In goal, I had Cells, at home to Southampton. I can't believe that for the first time I'm actually owning him this season. He conceded 2 goals and returned 1 point. But yeah, Nottingham Forest were able to see out the game with a 3-2 win. In defense, I had Gabriel that returned 1 point in the game against Aston Villa. Robinson with a clean sheet and 2 bonus points. You know, in their game against Leicester, Leicester have been really terrible so far this season. I also had Lewis Hall. You know, he got subbed off before they conceded the other 2 goals in the game against Bournemouth. We saw Newcastle lose 4-1 at home to Bournemouth, the first loss in, over 9 to 10 games. But Lewis Hall did get an assist for Newcastle's goal and he was subbed off. So 4 points from Lewis Hall. In my midfield, I had Mbuemo that was at home to Liverpool. He only returned 2 points in that game. He should have really gotten something out of the game. He had about 2 to 3 shots on target. Um, it was just very unlucky for him not to have gotten something out of that game for his team. In my second midfielder was Bruno Fernandes, scored the penalty, although his side lost 3-1 to Brighton, but he did, get the goal for his team and 1 bonus point as well in that game. Mo Salah, my captain, really disappointing return from him in the game away to Brentford, although they did, get that comeback to win, 2-0 towards the end, 9 minutes of the game. It was a disappointing captain pick. I honestly thought that I was going to see, we're going to see him bounce back. So this is the first time he's blanking back to back this season. So as a captain, 6 points from him. Cole Palmer, 2 points. We actually thought that we weren't even going to see Cole Palmer play the game against Wolves on Monday nights. He was, flagged to, have had some ankle injuries, but it was a surprise to see him. He didn't really look his best. I felt like he still, still has some niggles and he's still struggling. But it's sad that he still, has to play with the injuries not fully recovered. So I don't know that we're going to see him at his optimal best. But yeah, 2 points from him. Up top, I had João Pedro that he's just becoming a troll basically in my team this season. I have him, he blanks. I sell him or I bench him, he hauls immediately. It's just a non-ending cycle at this point. My second attacker was Chris Wood, got a goal and an assist and 3 bonus points in the game against Southampton. Kudos to the FPL managers that took the risk of placing the captain armband on him. Really terrific, high risk, high reward move. My third attacker was Alexander Isak, his first blank in his last 8 games. It wasn't really a surprise to see Bournemouth are known as, one of the giant slayers in the Premier League this season, taking points from the bigger sides so far this season. So yeah, 48 points. On my bench, I had Rogers that returned 1 point, Beltman returned 2 points, and we saw that, Saliba wasn't fit enough to play the game against Aston Villa, so he's been out, due to injury. So 48 points, just a minor green arrow to keep my rank, basically. A few positives to take moving into game week 23. So let's just look at how my game week 23 team is shaping up to look like. In game week 23, I still have Marcel's in my goal. He's going away to Bournemouth. I feel like this is really going to be a dicey game because Forest have the best defense currently in the Premier League and Bournemouth are at home, and we have seen their performances against, sides in the top 6 so far this season. They have been really good on and off the ball when they're playing against sides currently in the top 6, even sides outside of the top 6. I think Iraola is currently on an 11 game unbeaten run in the Premier League, which is really terrific for the Bournemouth side. So I think it's really going to be a tough match, but I do bank on Sales to get, some save points, which is also his strong suit, to be fair, right? In defense, I have Gabriel going away to Wolverhampton. Wolverhampton haven't really looked a scoring side. Yes, they did get the goal against Chelsea, but Chelsea have a terrible defense. Arsenal defense is much more solid compared to that of Chelsea. I do feel like Arsenal should be able to see out a clean sheet in this game with potential attacking returns from set pieces for Gabriel. I'm potentially considering doubling up on Arsenal defense for that game, but it's a risky move. So my second defender is going to be Veltman. I'm going to give Veltman the go ahead in my team at home to Everton. I feel like Brighton are beginning to pick up the pace in terms of their style of play. Welbeck is back. Beginning to play a lot better. I do see this as a game that Brighton could easily get a clean sheet. It could even be a nil-nil game, right? And my third defender is going to be Lewis Hall. He has been in really great form for Newcastle. I am scared, however, because he was subbed early due to a really, really terrible performance in that game against Bournemouth. So it makes me think whether his, place in the team is at risk at the moment. But I'm still going to take the risk of starting him because he's playing, away to Southampton, which is just a really, really great fixture to ignore at the moment. But, I'm still trying to weigh up my options, right? But for now, he looks nailed in my starting 11. In midfield, I have Mbeumo away to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace have been really, really solid so far. In their last four games, they haven't lost any, right? And they've kept clean sheets in back-to-back games. Brentford have one of the worst XGs conceded home and away from home, right? And Crystal Palace are scoring and scoring and scoring. I do feel like Mbeumo should be able to get something out of this game. The Crystal Palace defense has dropped significantly since Chaluba went out on injury, but they still look to be holding their own. But Mbeumo should be able to get something. He has blanked in two consecutive games. I think this is the game that he finally gets something out of. My second midfielder is Bruno Fernandes away to Fulham. I want to move away from Bruno Fernandes. I am not comfortable having Manchester United assets in my team. They don't seem like they can be counted on. So I will be looking to move away from him. I have, likes of Anthony Gordon, Kulusevski in my mind, Madison, Spurs against Leicester seems like an easier game and a really, really great game to try to capitalize on, in my opinion. My third midfielder is Mo Salah at home to Ipswich Town. I think he should and is going to be the undisputed captain this week. We know what Salah's record against newly promoted sides are. He got a goal and an assist in his first game of the season away to Ipswich, and three bonus points. Salah scored as well in the Champions League game against Lille over, midweek. So I just think we should see a massive haul from him. We should expect a massive haul from him in this game. Cole Palmer away to Manchester City. Manchester City looked like they were picking up the form. We saw them lose 4-2 to PSG in the Champions League. The defense just doesn't look solid, and I feel like Palmer should be able to exploit the weaknesses in the defense. He's also nailed on penalties, and I think he has recovered from his injury as well. So I will give him the go ahead in my team. Rogers is my fifth midfielder at home to West Ham. West Ham have conceded about 7 goals in their last 3 games since their new manager took over. Aston Villa at home, they have a terrific home record. Rogers should be able to get something out of it. Chris Wood away to Bournemouth. He is Nottingham Forest's highest goal scorer currently this season. I think he's on 14 goals so far. He's on terrific goal scoring form. I do back him. The only issue is Bournemouth have a really solid defense at home, so it's going to be a tight call. But I think he usually just finds a way to get something out of a match, right? Whether it's from aerial threats, run-ins behind, because, Nottingham Forest like to hit teams on the counter. So he's going to be my first attacker in my team. Alexander Isak is going to be the second attacker as well as my vice captain. I feel like the captaincy this week is going to be a swingy one between him and Mo Salah. He is away to Southampton that have conceded the most goals currently in the Premier League. So, it's not a bad point going with Ishak as your captain this week. It really could go any which way going into this game week. But yeah, I am also considering getting a Liverpool defensive assets, maybe Konate or Van Dijk, as I look ahead to, the double game week in game week 24. So this is what my team looks like. My captain, like I said, is Mo Salah. My vice captain is Alexander Ishak. And yeah, I have one free transfer, maybe looking to move a few players around before the deadline. But yeah, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. I'll do well to get back to them as quickly as I can. Don't forget to set your team, guys. Deadline is 2:30 tomorrow. Once again, this video is brought to you by myself, FPL.CARNAGE, in association with GW23.